It's the moment you didn't know you're waiting for.
He is Carter.
He's Chad.
And this is the Irish 365 podcast.
Chad, this is Lou Holtz. That's head coach of Notre Dame for 11 years. Greatest experience of my life. They're starting a Notre Dame podcast this summer. I have a podcast as well, but it's not about Notre Dame football, although I wish there were. But congratulations on your success. And it would be nice if I could be on your podcast, but my schedule is so hectic. But anything that has to do with Notre Dame, I'm all for it. God bless you. Go Irish.
Welcome into the Irish 365 podcast, episode 19. We're reviewing the Georgia Tech game, our trip down to Atlanta. Welcome in. Let's get right into it. We got the whole crew in here besides Maddie today. We got Christy. We got Cayden.
Hey.
We're ready to rock and roll, aren't we, Cayden? We have a good time down in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Fall break action for you. That worked out well, huh? Did you enjoy your trip down? And we'll get into it. I mean, you guys ended up driving down to the game. Our flights didn't work out. I guess we were planning on flying down early Saturday morning. Flight got changed where it got us into Atlanta after 4 o'clock, I think it was. It got moved after we booked, gave us an out. Obviously, game was at 3:30.
Yeah. Originally, we were scheduled to get into Atlanta at 12:15.
Yeah.
On the original flights. We didn't think it'd be a 12 o'clock game, but that was a risk we were willing to take because the flights were like $78 when we first bought them.
Yeah.
Then they moved the flight back and didn't get until like 4:30, and we said, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
They said, you want to rebook? You want to cancel? There was no rebook option that worked, so we canceled the flights, got our money back. Had some personal things we need to do work-wise and job-related, so we moved things around, and we made it work that we were able to get to Nashville on Friday, which is a little over halfway, spend the night, and then get on into Atlanta Saturday morning, where we met you at the airport.
Yeah, I had to work Friday night, long night there, and then had a one-way flight out of Indianapolis down to Atlanta. Definitely was a...
Yeah, was able to cash in some reward miles and get what would have been a fairly expensive ticket for free, if you will. So we didn't pay a crazy amount to get you to Atlanta.
Yep.
So that worked out really well. And then, then we got to Atlanta, and timing was absolutely perfect for us.
Yep.
We got to the airport just as you were landing. I think we were pulling into the airport, and you're like, hey, I'm landing. We knew you had to get from the gate to the terminal.
Big airport there.
And from the terminal to the T or the baggage claim area.
Yeah.
We were coming around. There was a lot of typical Atlanta traffic. It's everywhere. So we were able to slide into the traffic flow. We were trying to be held up. It's like I was behind somebody hoping like, hey, like just let the traffic go and like I'll sit here in traffic, which
first time ever.
Yeah, I don't do.
Yeah.
I'll drive 6 miles out of my way as opposed to sit in traffic for 10 seconds.
Yes.
Impatient is a word one might describe.
As we learn the next day.
Yeah. No kidding. As we learn the next day. But hey, we're here to tell about it.
Did you die?
No.
Okay.
Did we get a wreck, Cayden? Nope. We're here to tell.
We're good then. All right. So yeah, all of that worked out really well. We were able to pick Carter up, get down to the Atlanta airport, or out of the Atlanta airport, get down to downtown. Kind of an interesting thing. We reserved the parking through Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which is where the tickets came from. And there is a green deck, and then there's a green parking lot. And the green deck and the green parking lot are on the same street, but they are not the same address. So we started driving around. We went through some of the finer western side of Atlanta neighborhoods on the drive. And circled around, got to the parking area, which was like the parking lot connected to the College Football Hall of Fame. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So then once we got parked, we were good. We were like a half mile from Mercedes-Benz. Actually, I think it was 0.4 is what it actually said.
Yep.
And then we were able to just really kind of walk around a little bit. But we were there still a couple hours early. So we went on a walk and seen downtown Atlanta. We caught some lunch. Cayden found a great place to hit lunch at. Wings and pizza and burgers. And then when we got there, I'm like, Cayden, how'd you know about this place? I saw the advertisement on a trash can.
I mean, all fine establishments advertised on the side of a trash can in downtown Atlanta.
I am all for taking a risk on a dive, so it didn't bother me much. But yeah, that was interesting. It's like, all right, Cayden, you got this suggestion, burger wing place? Let's go for it.
Surprisingly, there were no other fans there.
I know we were a little off the beaten path. We weren't amongst the Notre Dame fan base.
I definitely love to walk through downtown Atlanta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, Atlanta's a great city, but probably the best part of it, the most iconic Atlanta part of it is we no more than picked you up at the airport. We were 2 minutes into driving toward downtown, and on comes Ludacris and "Welcome to Atlanta" with Jermaine Dupri. Like, what better song to be greeted to? It was like the radio station knew we were there.
Yep.
They probably play that once an hour out of like contractual duty or government law.
Yeah.
So anyway, we walked around a little bit. We got into Mercedes-Benz Stadium after a little delay, a little wait, and kind of just checking out the sightseeing. Which, let's talk about Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah.
Like, what was your impressions? Cayden, what did you think of it? What did you think of the facility?
It was pretty cool.
It was cool.
I would say this is your third NFL stadium. We've been to Lucas Oil, Arrowhead, Mercedes-Benz. Where's our ranking right now? Because we're going to hit another one next week. Where's our ranking?
Mercedes-Benz is probably better than Lucas Oil.
Probably better than it's newer. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, what do you think of that 360 scoreboard? Both of you, or actually you too, Dad, because this is your first time.
My first time in it. Yeah, actually, your mom had been in it before I had.
Yep,
So.
me and Mom have been. So, Cade, what do you think of that 360 scoreboard?
Yeah, it was nice. I wish they would have done it more like SoFi, where the scoreboard was on the outside, not on the inside. That was a little weird.
Yeah, well, that's a little bit older one. So it was like the first one, I think, of like the actual 360, because I think it was 2017. But I mean, it was. I bet if you were sitting down in that 100, we were up in the 300 section. I bet if you're down that 100 section, though, it's like
even better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't bad like the video scoreboard, but I agree. I think if you're down lower, it's probably even a better effect. The roof was open, which it kind of pivots open.
There's a guy on the scoreboard.
Oh yeah, there was a guy walking around the roof. I think cameraman. We all decided that's not a job we'd want.
Oh my goodness,
it could have been the Georgia Tech offensive coordinator. We're not sure.
Okay.
But
Let the quarterback think. Yeah.
I don't know what the play is, but run it.
Yeah.
So that was kind of an interesting. Like the facility itself was very cool. I mean, it's still modern, not brand new anymore. But still well kept. Cool kind of architecture. I don't know, hexagonish type geometrical dome look to it. The open roof, the way the roof opened up was
like a camera lens. I think.
Yeah, like a camera lens is the way I describe it. It was really, really kind of a cool facility. Now, the one thing that shocked me about all of that was just the crowd size.
Yeah,
we were trying to debate this, and I don't know, what do we think? 60% capacity?
So what's it? Mercedes-Benz holds 71,000 people.
Yeah.
The official capacity listed was 59,000, and none of us are buying that.
Yeah, I think there might have been 59,000 tickets sold or given out, but there was not 59,000 people.
Yeah, I'd say probably
20.
No, there's more than 20. Probably 45 to 50 would be my official guess.
Yeah, I would agree though. I have not been in a football game to watch Notre Dame play ever.
Home or away, except during COVID.
Yeah. So Atlanta has the record for the least amount of people in a stadium I've been to. Like
last week's rain delay.
I can say after the rain delay there was less people, but that was after an hour and a half thunderstorm.
Yeah, after the rain delay, I had never seen Notre Dame so empty.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was different. I mean, so I don't think there's any desire to play a Shamrock Series game in Atlanta anytime soon.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I mean, and that was a 5-2 Georgia Tech team that came in. It wasn't and no one knew the quarterback wasn't going to be in that game until the day before. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't like everybody knew this was going to be bad.
It was definitely interesting. Yeah, if this was an 0-6 Georgia Tech team like it's been in years past, it wouldn't surprise me as much. But it's like Georgia Tech's not half bad this year.
Yeah.
And it just made me think, like, why did this game not just get played at Bobby Dodd? Because it's probably a packed atmosphere. Atmosphere is definitely a lot better. I mean, like, I get the intention, but like,
yeah, but I think it's probably ticket prices as much as anything. I mean, we saw base value tickets and still available day of game, but they were $150, $200 tickets.
Yeah, exactly. It was just like no one's bought these.
Well, they were probably thinking, we're playing Notre Dame, people are going to show up.
Yeah, but I've seen tickets fluctuate though for face value though when you get closer to the game time, because it's like, oh, no one's bought these for the last 6 weeks. Maybe we should lower these to encourage some people to show up. But you'd rather make some money than no money on those seats.
Well, I know Notre Dame will do this if they have an opposing team give back, like, some amount of the allotment, and they don't have a chance to sell them before the game. I mean, they'll go down to local like schools or rec centers, and they'll give the tickets out to get just to get the stadium full. Like, just hey, give out a few hundred tickets, and I don't know what the arrangement was between Mercedes-Benz and Georgia Tech, and but it was interesting.
We were able to move down a few rows, so we weren't complaining.
Yeah, we took advantage of that opportunity. It was really weird because there were sections that were packed clear to the roof.
Yeah,
and then there was adjacent section 1 or 2 over with no one in it.
Yeah, like the gym. We moved. We had feet were up a little bit on the seats. We were relaxing. No one was. There's eventually people came right behind us because they moved down. But I mean,
yeah.
Cayden was walking in the row in front of us for a little bit. He was stretching out the legs from being in the car all morning. I mean, we were definitely enjoying the extra space.
All 3 days, pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. So he stretched out the legs, but
space was nice.
The space
in
was
the upper
nice.
deck. We didn't make it into the lower deck.
No.
Yeah, we tried.
We tried that too early. I think we tried too early. We just tried to go for it, act confident.
But
tickets, I was like, what? We're already in. What?
Going to the concession stand.
There is 10 people in this section.
Yeah,
and that's it.
And they knew that, I guess.
That was crazy. There was a lot of lower section. Like we bought our tickets through the university, so we were in the Notre Dame section. There was a lower section and an upper section for Notre Dame fans, and I think below us, like the lower section was completely full of Notre Dame fans. And then we were in the upper section where there was Notre Dame fans, but it was like everywhere else, it was just swaths of.
Yeah.
And there was some Georgia Tech students just to the
which
to
is
the right
so weird. Like that threw me off so much. There's a Georgia Tech student section behind. Well, I don't know if it's the north or south end zone.
Yeah.
But it was just like
hundreds.
But in the 100 level, and it wasn't even full. And then they had like, what was it, 50, 100 students, like up in the 300s. It's like, what these guys do?
Like next to the Notre Dame
These
section.
guys get D's and F's last year?
They're
like
on
last
probation.
semester? Yeah, like what?
Or they were sitting right next to the Notre Dame section. So it's like, you go up there and just be rowdy and make them miserable.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe they were the delinquents for grades, or maybe they were delinquents. They wanted them to create ruckus.
Yeah,
but,
no kidding. It's just like.
Yeah. So when did we get to the stadium? I thought the stadium was cool. I'd go back to Mercedes-Benz Stadium. I don't feel like we got
I mean, we're planning on going back for the national championship at the end of this year,
true.
right?
Actually, I think depends on where we fall. There's a semifinal game and a.
Oh, is it I thought it was just national championship in Mercedes.
I think there's a regional, not or second round game.
Oh.
I think it's a second round site for the Peach Bowl.
Gotcha.
And then national championship back. So
yeah.
I mean, literally Notre Dame could play there 3 times this year.
Yep.
I bet you if they go back, it's sold out.
Yeah.
So that was kind of thing I think we talked about was the atmosphere was in an NFL stadium. It was not sold out. It just didn't have a college football game feel.
Yeah.
Like it just from the fan perspective, it just didn't have that feel.
I mean, we saw the tailgate and it was sad.
Yeah. This is true.
I could count the number of tents like pretty easily.
Yeah. Without even using your fingers. We seen some, and it's kind of a broke up area in downtown Atlanta. There's just parking spots here and there, but just not a great atmosphere.
And we saw a lot of fans. It wasn't that. You could see Notre Dame people, walking.
I believe when we were walking to our restaurant, one of the homeless guys said, and I quote, maybe paraphrase this a little bit, wow, Notre Dame brought a lot of people.
Yeah.
Another one.
He said it a little bit differently. Different language, but yeah, that's basically the gist of it right there.
To paraphrase, yeah. He saw a lot of green that day. Let's just put it that way. But yeah, so it was kind of a crazy experience in that respect, and it kind of disconnected, like it lost something in that side of it. And then what we all want to talk about is concessions, because that's what we're excited about most, right, Cayden?
Yeah.
The legend of Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Now, I was a little disappointed because the crowd volume was down.
Yeah.
Some of the concession stand areas weren't open.
Right.
I get it. It's a business decision. You didn't need to have all those concession areas open. The main ones were open.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Cayden, give us your take. What do you think about the concession area?
Well, what was sad is chicken sandwiches closed on Sunday was closed on Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I had a few things. Definitely, this is the best concession stand I've had this year.
Yeah,
definitely.
We're gonna start off refillable drink stations.
Well, we gotta start off. You know what? You know how much that souvenir cup was for the refillable drink?
Yeah, $4.
$3, I think. I think it was $3.
$3 for a cup.
Souvenir cup, unlimited refill.
The big cup. It's like 8 or 9.
The 32 ounce ones.
Yeah, big cup. Refillable, it was pretty nice for $3.
Yeah.
Candy.
I've been paying $8 for a bottle of water.
Yeah. Candy. Candy, $2. At Notre Dame, $6.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cheap.
And the candy you liked, right? What'd you
Yeah,
get?
yeah. I got peach rings.
There you go.
They had
Peaches
they
down
had-
in Georgia, huh?
Yeah. That's true.
Well played.
My favorite part though, they had $6 chicken tenders.
With
Chicken
fries.
tenders and
With
fries.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a steal, and they were good quality too.
They're
For
pretty solid.
stadium food, you're impressed.
Yeah. And
But
I did not have the chicken fingers. I had the cheeseburger for $5,
Yep.
which
yeah, and fries.
decent cheeseburger for $5. I didn't come with fries. It's
Yeah.
$5 for the cheeseburger, but it was a solid cheeseburger for $5.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought the concessions was like felt good about concessions. I like
Yeah.
concessions.
I felt
Honorable.
good about concessions.
I gotta say, but
Nothing
But
but cakes.
the best
Yeah.
part was bunt cake.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah,
I've got to write a sternly written letter to Notre Dame. We
Yep.
need bunt cake available.
And they weren't marked up at all.
No, they were like
yeah.
standard. I mean, that's an expensive treat,
Right.
but it was standard price. They weren't
6 or
marked up.
$7
It
or
was $7. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like at that 3:30 game halftime, a little red velvet
Yeah.
bunt cake.
Yeah.
Chocolate
You had the chocolate chip.
chocolate chip. Yeah.
I'm just saying that was a nice like.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't want lunch. I didn't want dinner. I wanted
Yep.
something in between. That was okay with me. That was okay with me. I like the bunt cake. That was a
Yeah.
nice surprise.
Okay.
I gotta go for an honorable mention though.
All
Oh
right.
yeah.
I did not have it, but I was thoroughly impressed. A Mexican restaurant had a shareable Mercedes-Benz nacho box.
That they did.
It was it was a box of nachos,
Mhm.
and as we mentioned, the roof opens up in like a circular camera. So it is shaped like Mercedes-Benz, the box.
It was.
It's about this big of a box. 3 to 4 people could probably share it. Loaded with nachos, and then the top was the circle opening roof.
It folded
Wow.
open like the
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I did
The
not
roof.
see that.
And it was only
Yeah.
like I want to say $12 or something like that.
Yeah.
This big thing of nachos with this
3 to 4
cool
people
box.
could share that
Yeah, it was.
easily.
Yeah, it was a plentiful package of nachos.
Yeah.
So
Man.
we didn't go for the nachos. We went for a little lighter fare, but
But
yeah, it was good. So yeah, I think overall Mercedes-Benz Stadium I liked.
Yeah.
I think downtown Atlanta's got kind of a cool vibe for a big city. The walk from the parking garage to the stadium was all right. I mean, it was funny because afterwards, when we were leaving, we walked to the car and then we drove to get back on the interstate in a crazy amount of traffic. We drove, I don't know, 3 miles to go a half mile.
Yeah.
And there were still people before we got on the interstate that were walking from the stadium. It's like, oh my gosh, how far did they walk? And you're like, no, they probably walked like a mile or less.
Yeah. But we've got to mention this. I hope there's some people that did go to the Notre Dame game, and I saw people leaving early, mostly Georgia Tech people.
yeah.
I just got to assume they went to the Stevie Wonder concert right
Right.
next door.
That's
I
right.
mean,
Stevie Wonder was playing, and I think that the Georgia Tech Notre Dame game was the warm up act.
yeah.
And then people were getting out of there early. They wanted to get good seats for Steve. It was
Stevie-
probably general admission seating.
Oh,
They were
yeah.
probably trying
I'm
to-
sure that's what.
They're
all
probably
kinds-
trying to
Yeah.
get floor seats and get up close to the stage.
Yep.
Because I'm told if you're not up close, you can't see Stevie Wonder.
Jeez.
It's not the same show.
Jeez.
It's just not.
Okay.
Wow. What do you think I was
Tough
going
crowd,
with that?
yeah. I
Yeah.
didn't want to know, so I stopped it.
What?
Shout out to our favorite history teacher who was also in Atlanta for the Stevie Wonder
Yes,
concert.
yes, yeah. I think I told the story. Not only was he a high school history teacher, but he was also my defensive coordinator my freshman year.
Yep.
So anyway,
All right. Well, you
So
guys
any-
got any other comments on the game?
Yeah, I thought it was a great stadium. A little underwhelming with the crowd, but everything was nice and clean. It just didn't have, we kept talking about it, did not have that college vibe. So
Yep.
it's my main takeaway.
okay. Any closing words for you on this one?
Nope.
All right.
All right.
Well-
Well, you're ready for MetLife this week, huh?
All right, man. Hey, another business trip.
Excited
Yep.
to keep traveling.
Yeah. So, yeah, we fortunately have a business trip coming up, and literally it's a business trip. We're flying out of Indianapolis again.
Oh.
To Newark Airport.
Detroit.
No, Indianapolis.
Indianapolis, all right.
We're flying out of Indianapolis. We're going to Newark.
Have changed.
And no, it's always been the same. Misunderstandings. Anyway, we're flying into Newark. We get into Newark at like 10 o'clock. Uber over to MetLife. We'll catch the game, and post game we'll Uber back to Newark and catch a flight home. So we're literally going in and out to New York or New Jersey same day, but we should have plenty of time on the ground. No issues as long as the Irish don't take
Overtime.
2 or 3 overtimes to conquer the midshipmen. We should be okay.
Yep.
So that'll be interesting. So, all right, Cayden, Christy, last words. All right. Well,
Appreciate you guys being on.
appreciate you getting on. We'll let you guys hop off, and Carter, we can talk about the game itself if you want.
Sounds like a plan to me.
All right.
All right. See you next week.
All right. So Carter, game wise, like, what was your thought, man? I mean, I felt like the game went as intended, as scheduled.
Yeah.
I don't want to brag too much, but I got to brag a little bit.
Yeah, I think you got to.
I don't know. Someone thought the final score might be 31-13.
Yeah.
And what was the final score?
I don't know.
Oh,
Little Cayden was saluting off there. Yeah. 31-13 final
31-13.
score. I mean, I guess if we're taking this time to brag, I mean, I guess I can get into it too. I did give people a lock of the week this week, didn't I?
I think you did. How'd that turn out for you?
I mean, did Jeremiah Love score a touchdown?
Yeah, he did actually.
Did Riley Leonard score a touchdown?
I'm sure he did.
Did Notre Dame win?
They did.
Oh my goodness. Lock of the week hit. I mean, my other parlay wasn't even close, but we're not going to mention that.
We're
We're on high vibes only. I gave you a lock and I gave you a maybe. There's a chance.
That's right. You gave him
hit.
free money.
I gave him free. I said short-term investment actually.
Yeah. So anyway, you gave him a short-term investment. You gave him a lock.
Yeah.
They took it.
Yep.
And
Took it to the bank.
if they wanted to get risky on a high portfolio option, you gave them that as well.
Yeah, and that did not work out, so don't do that. But,
And Jordan also gave him a high risk option.
yeah, it did not work out.
How did his finish up?
Georgia Tech was under their points because he had over 13.5. They hit that 13 line. Jeremiah Love, I think, was only 36 rushing yards. And he had 50.
He had 50.
And then their Haynes, their running back, was under his yards as well. But I think besides that, he did pretty solid.
Yeah, I mean, and it wasn't like he was way off.
No, he wasn't way off.
It just and even your I don't know it was going to hit. Like I got to think about it afterwards.
Yeah.
Riley Leonard, you had three passing touchdowns. He didn't get that.
No.
But there was a pass that just like could have scored the first one.
Yeah.
And there was a pass that could have scored the second one. Like
There was a
first two
couple big
touchdowns could have-
passing plays that went down inside the 10.
Yeah, like inside the 5-on-1, inside
Yeah.
the 10 on the other. Like it was close.
It wasn't like, obviously he got no touchdown, so it's not like a close miss, but like there's a couple plays away that was like, ooh, but I think Chris Mitchell didn't have a huge game either. So
No, surprisingly, he did have
yeah.
a bigger game.
So Bo Collins played pretty solid. Jeremiah Love is a leading receiver though this week with 50 some yards, I believe it was 15 some change. So
Yeah. We got to get into that side of it. Like the slow start for Notre Dame. We started off the first couple of weeks with fast starts and
Yeah.
we've been slow starts since. I think we scored on the opening drive the first 3 games.
yeah.
And then we haven't scored on the opening drive since. That's a little disappointing. I felt like we were really good coming in, scripted plays, running the ball, but I also think we've tried to be more pass first in the scripted play.
So what I'm going to say, I guess, is from those first 3 games, we scored on the first drive or whatnot, or we looked good on the first drive. I don't remember if we scored on the first drive in Texas A&M. Did we score a field goal? I can't remember, but we looked good on first drives at least. But we look like crap, I guess, for some of the rest of it. We went through a low surprise. So I guess I'd rather have it where we're not scored on the first drive and then we figure it out.
Yeah, and then you turn around and rally for 30, 40 points, right?
And get scored on first and whatnot. So
if we don't score on the first drive, but we can finish the game with a 31-13 victory, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
That was kind of a little interesting. I mean, we let Georgia Tech come down, and I figured it. I don't know. You kind of were thinking they were going to be a little more locked in. I saw the defense play with attitude, maybe not quite as much as I did last week, but they did play with an attitude. They were coming downhill. They were hitting people, but we still allowed Georgia Tech to come down and score on their first drive.
Yeah.
And then it was like
with a running play.
With a running play.
Yeah.
And then we came back and we started actually a really good drive. But then we got that conversion to get the first down.
Yeah. It's fourth down, right?
It was fourth down. We converted for the first. And then we took the shot in the end zone, which I like the call.
Yeah.
But just I feel like Bo Collins quit running on the route. Now,
Well, did you see the post-game press conference?
I did. Riley said, it was on him, but that's the right thing for Riley to say.
But did you see? He said, "I didn't even see him."
Yeah, I mean,
he didn't see the safety over the top at all, is what he said.
And it was a cover 3. It was a bad time to throw the ball. Now, Bo Collins might have thought, hey, there's 3 guys out here. There's no way he's throwing this ball. It may not have anything to do with confidence in Riley Leonard. It may have everything to do with like just reading the play and saying,
I'm not getting
dude, don't throw the ball here because that's a bad idea. So I was, at the time of the game, I felt like Bo Collins quit on Riley. Like, okay, he just doesn't have confidence. He just doesn't like believe in Riley to make that throw. Riley proved he'd throw that ball, whether he should or shouldn't. He proved he'd throw that ball.
Not, but
I think the best tweet I saw was during one of the timeouts, scrolling social media. The parody Newt Rockney account said, if you average the NIU interception and the Georgia Tech interception, that's 2 dimes.
Yeah.
So, because it was kind of the same thing. As bad as he underthrew at the NIU game, he overthrew it at the Georgia Tech game. So that was kind of a rough. Now we're in our second series, but defense came back on, played great, holding Georgia Tech at that point. And what I expected, young guys take a moment to settle in, trust what they're seeing.
Yeah.
Al Gold, I think, does a great job of like adjusting in game too.
Yeah.
And I think that's a little bit what we saw. He adjusted some of the
definitely
calls.
always feels like a little of a feel out period.
Yeah.
Which in these games we can take that because these aren't like the top teams in the nation. But it feels like when you get to a big game, we can't have that much of that feel out.
Yeah.
You got every possession counts. You can't let up an early score.
I mean, when you look at the rest of the schedule, you could probably afford that fill out unless you get to USC. And who knows what USC is going to look like.
I think USC, I mean, they just can't finish a game right now, but they're still a decent team.
I know, but they're going to come in hot. You can't let them go up 14 points before you figure it out.
Yeah.
You gotta come in early, but we won't talk about that now. We'll stay with Georgia Tech. So
I mean,
then we got rolling, right?
Yeah. I mean, Riley Leonard, I think, went on a run where he completed like 12 straight passes, and he put up pretty decent stats for the game. Like,
I think after the interception, it was 12 in a row.
Yeah. So he ended up with 2 on the ground, obviously, and then finished the game 20 for 29. I mean, in the air. 203, so back-to-back 200-yard passing games for Riley.
Yeah. So best he's played.
Yeah.
And again, I think he played really well. I don't like the interception. That wasn't great, but his bad passes still weren't
as bad
as they'd been in the early season. So I think he's continuing to show progress. And if that truly was on him, it wasn't on Bo Collins on the interception. At least he recognizes it. He's learned from it. Hopefully, we won't see that kind of misread again in the future. And Georgia Tech's quarterback. I mean, he started off, I think, 6 for 6, 7 for 7.
100%. Yeah.
He started off hot early. Took advantage of our young secondary, and I don't know that our young secondary played terrible. They just gave a little bit of space that they wouldn't have had with BMO. Christian Gray, almost should have had the pick. Now we know why he plays corner. He doesn't play wide receiver.
No kid.
We've seen Xavier Watts make all kinds of catches. We know why Xavier Watts could play wide receiver and why he bounced back and forth. But Christian Gray had one where it was just over the shoulder into the end zone. It was like that would have been a really nice pick. He didn't pull off.
Definitely.
But Christian Gray played great. I mean, all the young guys played great. I don't have any complaints, which I didn't expect. Probably only surprised I didn't see more of Calvin Hobbs.
Yeah,
like he didn't show up and play out. I don't know if he was injured or he just didn't practice well, but I kind of thought he'd have a breakout game. I missed that one because he did not have a breakout game. I thought
he was your Mitchell Evans from last week, right?
He was. You kind
of expected it, and then it's like, which he went over 25 yards this week, but whatever.
Yeah, so
26.
No one's
Thanks,
mad.
Mitchell Evans.
But I thought it was interesting because they did run a lot of plays designed to Mitchell Evans this week. Like he was targeted.
Oh yeah, there was definitely like what was it? It's like 2 or 3 straight plays where they like hit me, like he dropped one and they still went back to him 2 more times in a row. So.
Well, there's a screenplay.
Yeah.
Where that was a weird screen. Like it wasn't a weird screen, but it was weird. Like everything was flowing left, and then they like faked it like they were going to go right to Love, and then they go back left, and it's like a lot of just misdirection, deception going on, which I'm okay with that. You know, help a line out, get things going, help Riley Leonard out if he's not taking on too much, make it easy, get playmakers the ball in space. I think there was a lot of that being attempted this game.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw Love get the ball in space a couple of different times, and I'm always a fan of that.
No kidding. I mean, even on a little punt reverse.
Oh, yeah. And,
We got to get into special teams, right?
Yeah. Well, someone called the special teams.
I
mean, since we're talking about the positives.
I mean, I guess we were bragging earlier. I should have brought this up. Who thought Georgia Tech special teams was going to have a rough day?
Yeah. So
who was it? Got 2 thumbs and sitting in this chair right now. This guy.
Right.
This guy definitely thought Georgia Tech special teams.
So, yeah, I thought that was kind of crazy because, like, you know, I wouldn't have been aware of the stat and the kicking struggles. And they went down for that first field goal.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, man, this is kind of like he hasn't kicked one from this range.
Yeah.
He's not made anything from this range. And then they
bad snap.
Yeah. And so, yeah, that ended well for us on the turnover there.
Yeah, and I haven't studied Georgia Tech's special teams enough. Like, I haven't watched film or anything on them. But it's like, something's got to be off in the operation there, though. It can't all be on the kicker when in a game we've seen a bad snap and then later on we saw a block. Like, it's clearly not all on the kicker here.
Yeah, and
I don't know what's happened in the previous games, why his stats are so bad. Like, but there's definitely something in the operation. And maybe the guy that's playing quarterback today was the holder previously.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm wondering. Usually your
backup quarterback or punter. I don't know who it was. Like,
usually that's who is
the
holder on special teams. Usually that's you get the backup quarterback that opportunity.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I don't know if that was normally his job.
Yeah.
And so they were on a second string guy as the holder, but yeah, there was clearly a muffed hold.
Yeah.
And that
was a bad snap, I think, as well.
I don't know. The snap was. It could have been a better snap,
yes,
but it wasn't.
Terrible.
It wasn't so bad that I think a good holder could have compensated.
Yeah.
And that guy, I think the guy panicked.
He pulled it. Yeah,
he panicked. I think he had a chance to get it down, but he just panicked.
He Charlie Brown the kicker, really.
Yeah,
he pulled it late.
Poor kicker. And so that was interesting. And I'm like, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
And when you talk about the operation side of it, you know, you go back to the fact that their kicker was perfect from inside the 20, or inside the 30.
Inside 30.
Inside 30, he was perfect.
Yeah.
He's perfect on extra points. So it makes me think that, okay, operationally, the blocking, the snap, the hold is usually really good.
Right.
Like if he was struggling at all distances.
But in college, you don't get as much trying to block an extra point versus a field goal because they're just so automatic. Like, you're at that former NFL, that 20-yard, like,
yeah, it's
you're not trying to block him as much because the timing, like, the kicker's not, he's not taking his time and trying to take bigger steps to get more wind up. Like,
usually getting the ball higher.
Yeah.
You know, the farther out you go, the lower the ball usually comes out, kind of thing.
So
yeah, I'm just saying, like, the whole operation of the snap and the hold, I would think if that was an issue for him, it would show up in all distances, not just longer distances. But again, we haven't studied it. We don't know, just making an observation from very little data. So
exactly.
So yeah, I thought that was kind of an interesting mix. But then I think the Irish, when we got rolling,
my goodness,
we got rolling.
Started dominating the special teams too, huh?
And all 3 phases were owned by the Irish there for a while. Which was cool because the Notre Dame crowd was 50%, maybe 60%. I don't know. It was at least 50%.
Georgia Tech was pumping noise in. Can't change my mind.
Oh.
It like till 5 seconds in the game clock.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that.
Oh, my gosh. You brought crowd up and I just couldn't hold back.
I don't know what the rule is.
What I was thinking is I swore is like when the team breaks the huddle.
Yeah.
Like
I want to go back and Google it and I didn't do it. But
I'm like 95% sure it's either 15 seconds on the play clock or when the team breaks the huddle.
The microphone in the helmet has to be shut off
at 15.
If 15 seconds left on the play clock. I would think if you're shutting off the microphone at 15 seconds on the play clock, you shouldn't be pumping in crowd noise. Like at that point. But yeah, it was clearly down. Notre Dame had broke the huddle and they were well under 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And there was like, because the crowd was so small, it was, 60% at best, as maybe 50% capacity, but 60% at best. And then because that 60% was half Notre Dame, if not a little over half Notre Dame, it got pretty quiet when Notre Dame had the ball.
Yeah.
Once that pumped in sound went away. Like there was still some Georgia Tech noise.
I'm not saying it wasn't noise, but
it was. It's
a big stadium.
It was a noticeable drop off. I mean, and you can see it like when Notre Dame at home, like they have the speakers going and they're playing.
Oh yeah,
it'll get loud, But they'll shut off those speakers, and you can tell when the speakers have come off because the sound drops just a little bit. But it was not just a little bit of a drop off; it was a huge drop off. And like you said, there were some of them I know was 5 seconds left on the play clock, and Notre Dame was lined up, and they were still pumping in noise. I mean, they were being generous with it, but it was ACC refs; they weren't going to do anything about it.
Exactly.
The ACC refs never do anything. If there's a questionable call, it just seems like it never goes in Notre Dame's favor. I can't think of too many calls that are like, oh, yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, that one may have been a bad call in our favor. And I'm biased. I admit it. So apologize to all the ACC refs out there, but I just feel like we don't get many calls. It's a little bit of a maybe subconscious Notre Dame bias. I don't know.
Yeah.
But so I thought that was interesting from the crowd noise standpoint because it was like I don't think I can ever recall being at a visiting stadium and see the crowd noise. What I thought was pretty obviously going on a little too long.
Yeah, exactly.
Without a warning or something that occurred. But it didn't affect us any. It didn't change the outcome of the game any. Exactly. It was, hey, and it made it probably helped the team a little bit. They felt like their backs against the road. It was a tougher environment. So
didn't feel like a practice.
Yeah, it didn't feel like a practice in an exhibition game. I mean, I think the blue and gold game might have had more people at it.
Oh my goodness.
It really
more percentage filled at least.
Yeah, so I mean it was just crazy.
And we're at NFL Save this year. We'll get into it later in the week, but we're looking at tickets, and thankfully this one looks a little more full. So
so anyway, but I thought the team got rolling. Team played well. Running backs all did well. Everybody ran the ball well. Receiver wise, it was like I said, it was Bo Collins and a little bit of Mitch Evans.
Yeah,
and some Jeremiah Love.
Jeremiah Love, I think was the leading receiver.
And
Price was leading on the ground.
Nothing wrong with a little bit of Jeremiah Love getting the ball out of the backfield.
No, can't complain with that.
Just get that dude the ball in space because he's like, but Price is a good running back.
Yeah,
and like it feels a little bit like Estime. When Estime was kind of first coming around, you had Williams there.
Yeah.
And like you saw a little flash of it, and then you saw Diggs, and you're like, oh, this Diggs dude's good, and then you're like, oh wait, this Estime guy's pretty good too. And I mean, we know we've got some backs.
Yeah.
And we're blessed with a plethora of backs that can run the ball. So it's
nice Williams.
Yeah,
he's good too.
He looks good as well. And we know defensive back wise, it's the same thing. I mean, all those defensive backs played well.
Before we get away from the running backs, Jeremiah Love on Riley Leonard's first touchdown. Oh, I mean, we got to retweet that, or I don't know if we did retweet that, but I mean, go check it out. Got to go look it up. Riley Leonard's first touchdown run. Just watch Jeremiah Love just absolutely destroy. Was it the linebacker or the corner? I don't remember.
I think it was a linebacker.
Yeah, I think it was linebacker. Just.
Yeah, it is what you want. Just you talk about unselfish play.
Yeah.
It's just a guy who is not afraid to put a hit on somebody. He wanted all the smoke and he got it.
I think the other guy got all the smoke.
I mean,
oh my gosh, he took that dude out. I mean, he's still feeling that hit a couple days later.
I think I told you the best part about that was he knocked the guy on his back. And Riley Leonard kind of landed on him. He was reaching to the end zone.
Yeah, he's reaching.
It might have kept Riley Leonard's knees off the ground
as
he was reaching for the end zone.
Yeah. And I think I wish we were a little closer because I think that guy heard a lot of words from Jeremiah after that hit.
Oh, yeah. I would like to hear the audio on that. He probably let him, you can tell he let him know it.
No kidding.
Yeah, like, stay down would have been appropriate.
No kidding.
But on Riley's second running touchdown, Cayden Thomas was the intended target for that one. And Riley took off and ran. And Cayden Thomas had a great block.
Yep.
To get him in. And I thought that was kind of like the one thing I can say about the Notre Dame team is they definitely have got a selfless team in a lot of ways where, receivers and running backs are blocking.
It's been that way for a while. Running backs and receivers have been known to be good blockers. And that's what NFL grades like. It's been a while since we had a big time receiver, but always when Chase Claypool got the NFL, he's a really good blocker. Like someone else gets the ball. Like I know he fell off, but
he came out rookie of the year. I mean, he was hot for
rookie year contender. He ended up winning it.
Yeah, I mean, but he was hot for the first few years, and then I don't know what happened, but we haven't had but maybe Skowronek, I guess.
Exactly
the most successful, which is sad. I mean, not against Skowronek, but he was a transfer from Northwestern, played a year, and then everybody's surprised he's kind of hung around the league and he's done well.
Yep.
And so it's. The team, I like this team and where we're at. Again, the injury bug's been tough.
Yeah.
But I still like the depth we've got. I mean, just the depth was on display that we've got talent, even in the young guys, and they're contributing. And it's like, okay, this is good. And I don't want to think about next year, but you got to feel good about the guys coming back next year.
Good. Yeah.
Because there's not a lot of graduates that are going to go away, and you're going to be like, oh, what are we going to do without Riley Leonard? I mean, nothing against Riley Leonard, but I think the quarterback room is deep. I mean, if we have to go QB4 Tyler Buckner, we can go QB4 Tyler Buckner. Yeah. So, and I think this is interesting. I follow the Mike Goolsby podcast. It's one of my favorite, like, non-Irish 365 podcasts. And he was talking about this earlier in the year, just the whole Serrano and Buckner happen to be wearing the same number. And he's like, I can see a trick play out of this. I can see a trick. So I hadn't thought much about it, but didn't realize at the time that Buckner was the guy in there holding the ball. But he took off running. It was like, I didn't even know it was him that ran it until after the game.
Yeah, exactly.
I had no clue. I mean, it was just like
TB26 or whatever.
Yeah, TB26 is like, what? Which you got to, like, if you're a Notre Dame fan and you're a little above average as far as your following of the team, you got to like the Tyler Buckner story. Yeah. I mean, you just got to like the kid. You got to root for the kid. One, he was a tremendously talented kid, not the best passer, but he was effective. I mean, he won a freaking MVP of the bowl game his last game. They went out and got Hartman. So writing was on the wall. He wasn't the guy that Marcus Freeman wanted. Left and went to Alabama and played
followed his offensive coordinator.
Yeah, followed his offensive coordinator, went to Alabama, played backup quarterback. Transferred back to Notre Dame to play lacrosse, where he was recruited for lacrosse originally, and won a national championship. Yeah, and then writes this great letter saying, I want to do whatever I can to help the football team be successful. Yeah, and whether that's signaling plays, running scout team. So it was just nice that he got a chance to just make a play, and he made a play. Yeah, he runs the ball like a running back. Yeah,
he's a downhill runner.
Yeah, he is. He's not Riley Leonard's size either. He's a smaller guy. Yeah, relative compared to Leonard, but he's not afraid to run. No. Try and run people over.
And I always liked that about him when he did the quarterback. But at the same time, it was like, oh, that's our quarterback. You don't want him to go get hurt, right?
Yeah, slide.
But he's our
buddy. Don't do that.
But when he's your holder, it's like, go take somebody out.
That's right. We'll get another holder. When you're the backup holder,
you go for it.
Yeah,
we can be healthy by lacrosse season. You'll be fine.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, and so I think that was kind of cool on a lot of different fronts. One, I think it was neat that Notre Dame pulled out some trickeration, because you may never run those plays again the rest of the season. Yeah. But now everybody's got to think about it. Yeah. Okay, wait a minute. Notre Dame's not just going to do this. Notre Dame might fake. Yeah. And if the threat of a fake punt or the threat
makes the defense think half a second even.
Yeah, I said this. I hope we see this when we play Army. Yeah. Some sort of nod to the four horsemen option, four back offense, just because I want everybody from that point forward, being USC and anybody we might see in a playoff, I want them thinking about, wait a minute, what if Notre Dame does this? One more thing they have to pack into the game plan in that last week. So, so anyway, I thought it was a good game by the Irish. Yeah. We did what we had to do as far as taking care of business at Georgia Tech. It wasn't anything crazy exciting or terrible. It was just kind of a slow start, but you never felt like, even with a slow start, that like we were in trouble.
No,
and they got really comfortable. Got really comfortable really fast after the 2 scores, and it's just like, okay, now we're gonna execute.
Yep, I definitely agree. I mean, it was definitely just a fundamental football game once we got started. Got to figure out the slow start, but happy with how the game went though.
Yeah. So anyway, we put this one away. We filed it away. It's another good victory over a good team. Yep. Unfortunately, not a top 25 team, which I was hoping they would be after they beat Florida State. Yeah. So now we just got to hope that Georgia Tech finds a way to beat Miami. Yep. That's because I don't even want to talk about the conversation of the playoffs at this point, because we're just halfway through the season.
We'll save that for a bye week.
But I think for the bye week, we need to talk about the playoff picture, and it'll clear up a little bit. Yeah. Couple of people I work with, hit me up about playoff picture today. Like, oh, what do you think? And they're like, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, so there's definitely a lot of discussion on bye week. So going into the bye week, throw out your questions. Drop us what your thoughts are on the bye week. I
mean, we got this week against Navy, the Naval Academy, and then next week we got another bye week. So we'll definitely have a podcast in there. Questions, we'll put something out on social media. Send us your questions.
That's also when the college football playoff ranking or seeding.
Is it
ranking?
I think it's the following week.
It's the week after Navy.
Okay, it is the weekend.
So that'll be the bye week. Our bye week.
So it's a week from today, or week
2
from
weeks.
Tuesday.
The
It's
week,
after Florida State, I think.
yeah, it's no, I think it's before Florida State.
I thought I looked it up. It's after Florida State.
Okay, I was thinking it was the bye week.
No.
I was thinking the first seedings. Don't call them rankings; they're seedings. Because ranking is different than seeding. And I think the College Football Playoff Committee is going to issue rankings, or issue their seedings, I should say, not rankings. Where AP is a ranking and coaches poll is a ranking, that'll actually be the seeding. So you may see someone like Miami seeded number 3, and you may see someone, like Boise State seeded number 4 or whatever. But that's not to say that they're ranking them. That's just where they're seeding them as far as the playoffs are concerned. So yeah, I think that'll be interesting. I think that's got to be a bye week topic for sure, is what do we think's going on.
November 5th, so we're 2 weeks out.
Yeah, we play Florida State the 12th, don't we?
We play our Navy the 26th, by the 2nd, rankings the 5th,
Yeah.
Florida State the 9th.
Yeah, so it's the Tuesday after the bye week.
Yes, okay, my bad. I thought you were saying the Tuesday before the bye week. That's
No,
on
the
me.
Tuesday after the bye
Gotcha.
week.
Okay. Yep, we're on
So-
the same page.
And so, hey, for us, we do get a basketball game in there.
Yep.
So we get our first basketball game of the season. The hockey's rolling right now, so
Yep.
I've not been a whole lot on top of the hockey. I just know they've played really well in some of the early series.
Yep.
We got some hockey games coming up, so looking forward to that. So
Definitely.
yeah, it's sports seasons are rolling.
Exciting times.
Yeah. So all right, well let's put this one to bed because you're tired. I'm
Yeah.
tired. It was a long work
Long
weekend.
travel weekend. Yeah.
And then we got another business trip. Tell you what, new respect for the team though. Right?
Yeah.
Like
Feeling it.
they're going to class full time, doing their studies, and they're making this travel.
Yep.
So yeah, got a little appreciation for the team and what they go through because they're playing a
Definitely.
football game. We're just watching.
No kidding. So
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Irish 365 podcast.
You can find us wherever you get your podcast.
We are on YouTube, X, Instagram, and Facebook.
Just search for Irish 365 Pod.
And you can always reach us at our email, irish365pod@gmail.com.
Good night.
And God bless.